What's up, everybody? Welcome back to For Collectors and Hobby Palooza. I'm super excited for the National. I thought this was a way too early National show, but I've seen a lot of YouTubers already talk about the National, so I guess it's at the right time. But I have 5 of my closest friends that are going to the National on here today, and we're just going to talk about cards we want to pick up at the National, our strategy at the National, and just anything else. So first off, let's talk about the charity for Hobby Palooza, and then we'll bring them in.
The official charity of Hobby Palooza 2024 is Signatures for Soldiers. Since 2014, it has been their mission to help serve those who served our nation when it called on them and who now need our help. They work in cooperation with other charitable organizations to assist veterans with disabilities, homeless veterans, and existing members of the armed forces and their families who need extra support. Their efforts have been documented in Forbes and Beckett magazines. They will be operating a booth at the National, which is their biggest fundraising event of the year, as it includes a charity auction with the support of Heritage Auction House. For more information, visit signaturesforsoldiers.com. To donate to Signatures for Soldiers for our Hobby Palooza event, please use PayPal Goods and Services to send your money. Last year, Mike's PayPal account was frozen by too many people using friends and family. I will happily donate the PayPal fee myself to make your donation whole. Send it to jekaufma@yahoo.com. That was JECOFFMA@yahoo.com. For every $10 donated, you will have an entry to one of the pieces of artwork created by Scott of Reindeer Studios or Eric Forleaf that they will be making live on their Hobby Palooza show. Additionally, at For Collectors have 50 exclusive quad auto channel cards available to the first 50 people who donate and request one. In the notes section with your PayPal payment, at a minimum, please include your YouTube handle. If you want to get one of the autographed channel cards, also include your mailing address. Every dollar collected will be presented by check to Signatures for Soldiers at the National in Cleveland. Thank you for supporting this worthy cause.
All right, guys. So first off, I'm actually bringing in Matt first. Before we started, Matt wanted to help out with the raising money. So, Matt, if you want to talk about what you want to do, and then I'll talk about how we're going to do it. Go ahead.
Sure. No, thanks, Theo. Theo told us before this to bring the energy today, so I thought I'd try to get everyone a little excited. I do a little giveaway, I guess, exclusive to our hour. So John's going to be able to keep track through his PayPal when the timestamp goes through your donation. So if you donate at least $10. You'll get an entry for every $10 you donate. You'll get an entry for this Joe DiMaggio W603. It's a PSA 1, but there aren't that many of these around. So it's a plain Dave's DiMaggio from 46 to 49. So for every $10 you donate, you'll be on the wheel for that. This drawing will happen before the painting drawing. We kind of had to work out the particulars. So if you don't win this, you'll still be in for the painting that's going to come up in the next hour.
That's awesome. So to repeat what Matt said, and Matt, that's crazy generous. Every $10 you give this hour, there'll be a separate wheel that will spin before the painting. So if you give $100 this hour, you'll get 10 entries on that wheel for the Joe DiMaggio that Matt is giving, which is awesome. So, and then you'll also, if you give $100 for this hour, you'll also be in for the painting spin, and that spin will happen on the wrap-up show. So John will figure everything out. But I think that's so awesome, Matt. Thank you. So let me bring in the rest of the. All right, let's see here. You got to have energy when you come in. Let's see here, Dave. You got energy?
No. Of course you had to throw me in because I wasn't prepared. I'm prepared in live for this one. Gotcha.
All right, Dave. Dave, how many nationals have you been to?
2. This will be my 3rd.
Okay. And if you're in the chat, tell me how many nationals you've been to. I'm curious to see. I'll put it up on the screen here. Let's bring in iconic Al. welcome. How many nationals have you been to, Al?
Same as Dave. This will be my 3rd.
Okay, awesome. All right, here he comes from Philadelphia, Mr. Joe.
Just to be clear, I don't live in Philadelphia, but had I known you were putting me on right away, I was going to pretend like I was sleeping. So,
how many nationals have you been to, Joe?
1. This will be my 2nd.
Okay. All right. And last but not least, Adam.
Did somebody say DiMaggio? I heard somebody say DiMaggio.
Awesome.
No, it's not. No, this one's going nowhere. But but that is thoughtful, Matt. Absolutely.
How many nationals have you been to, Adam?
Dose.
2. So this will be your third, or this will be your third, correct? Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. I wonder if there's somebody watching that's been to like 10 over 10. That'd be kind of cool. But the highest so far is Mike, the sports history collector, with 3 so far. All right, so I'm excited to have you guys on. You guys all sent me your want list for the National. So just to kind of clarify, the way I preface this is, what's like the 3 cards that these guys want the most at the National? Granted, if you get one of them, you might not get the other 2, which is reasonable with how much money some of these cards cost. So that was the ask. And I'd be interested if people in the chat want to say some of the cards they're looking for at the National this year. I'll put them up. I think one thing that's nice about having a card community like this is if we share some of this with each other, we can help each other out. You know, the National is huge. You're not going to see everything. I know Dave loves helping people out. He'll send you a text with a picture of the card and the table number. I think that's awesome. So and Greg just chimed in. He said 7 or 8 Nationals his dad's been to, which is awesome. All right, so let's start it off, guys. So here we go. So I'll start with Matt. Matt, go ahead. Tell us about what's your top 3 you're looking for at the National this year.
Yep. So that first one on the left is the Quaker Oats Premium. So it's an oversized item like the DiMaggio we just showed a minute ago. And so you had to be in the club, the Babe Ruth Quaker Oats Club, baseball club, back in '34, and they sent these via mail. So we have members in the community that have these. Mangini's got 2, including one of the envelopes that came in. So definitely looking to get one of these. I'm looking for low grade, of course, right? Like an authentic 2/2. Just kind of want a nice eye appeal. This may be one of the items where if I get this, I may not get much else, which is fine. Been looking to get one. We added Ty got the Cobb T205 last year, so just trying to get like one inner circle, like original Hall of Fame class every year if we can at the National, kind of commemorate it. And then, of course, you guys know I enjoy Spawn, right? So looking to get the Spawn. Some people call it the rookie card. I don't think it is. I have like the Tip Top Bread card from '47. So I do have earlier cards for Spawn. I have the W603 for Spawn as well from a couple years before the Leaf. But that card's great. I know Greg just got a beautiful copy in Strongsville. Probably the best center copy I've ever seen. So that's awesome. So I'm looking to get one of those potentially. That's kind of my middle card in terms of wanting to go away with it. And then lastly is the kind of a new thing for me is the 90s, kind of getting back into some of the 90s inserts. So this is kind of the one that started it all, in my opinion, is the finest refractors for Maddox, right? So, and then of course I see some folks in the chat, right? I'll be looking for Hank Aaron cards, of course, Keegan. Definitely looking for Aaron and Spawn cards I don't have that are kind of obscure. But these are kind of the 3 things that want to have some focus for the National. So these are the 3 I'm looking to get. Obviously, this is kind of the order I gave them to Theo in terms of prioritization. So
what is the Quaker Oats Ruth usually sell for around Matt in that grade?
So you get authentic for around 1,000.
Okay.
Just between 800 and 1,500, depends on the eye appeal for all these, right? And it goes up from there, as you can imagine. So if I want to get a 2, I'd be stretching most of my budget, but I want to get one that doesn't have too many tears. I'm fine with wrinkles because you can't see on oversized as much, especially when you pulled it far away if you have old eyes like I do. So that's going to be expensive. And then the problem with me and my Spawn collection, I'm trying to get the number 1 Spawn collection in the stupid PSA registry. So I need to get at least a 6, I feel like, to kind of get that number 1 spot eventually. So I don't want to rebuy this card for sure. So that'll be equally expensive, probably 3,000 to 4,000, depends what grade. And obviously, if I get like a 7 or 8, it'd be all I would get, and then I'd be spending my Q4 budget. And then the Maddox, 8 or 9, I can get that for. There's 8 right now. That opening bid just started yesterday for $800. So those are available. Kind of depends on Hulky, and I know Al's brother Brian's been doing a really good job, kind of educating a lot of folks, including myself, on the '90s inserts. And he did an episode on Hulking, I think on 4 Collectors. You guys a little bit. You talked about it briefly, but he's done some episodes on his channel as well. And High Pop Professor. So this one depends on what condition, right? I'd rather have an 8 that has no Hulking or little Hulking than a 9 or 10 that is all green, right? So just depends what we see.
Yeah, that's cool. Does anybody in here have any of these 3 cards so we can show Matt and rub it in his face or not? I didn't think anybody in here had any of these cards. The only one I didn't know if Adam maybe had the finest refractor Maddox, but I think he just has the bonds, right, Adam?
Yeah, I just have the bonds. Hey, I wouldn't mind having that Maddox, but now that I know wants one, it's my top priority. No, actually, seriously, now that I know Matt wants one, if I saw one, I'd be calling him up and saying, "Here it is."
That,
Matt, how many of the finest refractors of each player are there? How
the reported number that I always throw out is 241. I don't know how accurate that really is. They only produce so many packs, and they have like the pack odds or whatever, right? So they say it's 241, but they're not serialized, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's move on to Al's up. Al, go ahead, take it away, man.
Thank you, Theo. My one list is probably a little different than everyone else's because my top items aren't cards; they're autographs. So I'm looking to add one of these ancient aces to my collection, an authentic autograph that's slabbed by PSA for Walter Johnson, Cy Young, or Grover Alexander. They all kind of go in the same range between about 25 to 3,500. So obviously, I won't be getting more than one of these, but I'm hoping to find one of these at the National. It's just going to depend on what I find and how nice of an example it is, and that'll be my first purchase. And then based on what I can find on that front, then any money that might be left over, I can divide on other cards that I'm looking for.
Yeah, those are some great autos. Which of these three is the hardest, or is the least amount of autos out there, I guess?
I think Grover Alexander is probably the toughest one of the three.
Okay.
And then Walter Johnson, and then Cy Young. Cy Young lived the longest, so there are more Cy Young autographs out there. And Walter Johnson and Grover kind of died younger, so there just aren't as many examples out there. So I would probably prioritize Cy Young first, and then Walter Johnson, and then Grover, just because of prominence. But if any one of those appeared at a reasonable price, and a nice example, then I would be open to any one of those three.
Awesome. What just for somebody who like I'd be interested possibly in getting a Clemente, cut autograph one day. What other than Beckett and PSA, is there any other companies that you feel are reputable to buy a slabbed autograph, or is that pretty much it?
Well, for slab, yeah, that's kind of it. JSA is trustworthy, but they don't slab. So
right.
Yeah, but so among the slabbed autographs, yeah, I would say PSA or Beckett.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go on to Adam. You're up. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, hey, look at this. This is great. So, what I had said to Theo is, I'm kind of going there with an open mind, sort of a Zen approach. But I believe that Theo picked some cards and said maybe these could do the trick. And you know what? Any one of these cards for sure, if the right copy spoke to me. I mean, it's going to be a combination of price and the overall look of the card. Like maybe it's not fantastic centering, but maybe the color is just really vibrant. For the 38 Gaudy with cartoons, if I pick up a Bob Feller or one of those cards, then it's probably going to be a lower grade. It's probably going to have some issues, but that's kind of to be expected, because that one, first of all, ones that are around tend to be lower grades and have issues. But secondly, the price goes up quickly, so that would need to be a lower grade. I would just say to people for the National, don't buy DiMaggio because his cards are going down. Don't buy Musial. Don't buy Ted Williams. Don't buy Larry Doby. Don't buy Johnny Mize or Eddie Lopat. That's pretty much it. All those cards are going down. So you want to stay away from those.
Adam, were you one of the people concerned about sharing what you want because the dealers might watch this and try to get you?
I will admit a little bit of concern. Like when Matt throws out the the cards he threw out. I mean, those are cards that. The Quaker Oats, there might be one or two there who I don't know how many would be there. And same with the refractor, the Maddox refractor, there might be one or two or three, I don't know, probably not that many. So, yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about potentially creating competition. Now, in this case, it's working the opposite way for Matt, because if I saw a Maddox refractor, I could have some interest. But now that I know it's high on his list and he's really going after Maddox, I would absolutely be contacting him and saying, hey, I might have found what you're looking for here.
Yeah. Cool. Adam, if one of these cards come up on eBay in the next month and you love the eye appeal, because we know you're the eye appeal king, you and Dylan. So what's your move? Are you not even watching right now to try to make sure you don't get tempted, or are you watching right now on eBay and things like that?
You know, that's a crazy question, and here's why it's a crazy question. I think there's something big on eBay that I'm going to take to the National and either trade or show off, and I'm keeping it under wraps because I think I got a better deal on it than I would have at the National.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on. And who we got here now? Joe. Joe, you said you wanted to show us sketches of these cards. Did you end up sketching them?
Yes, I did. I had no clue if you were going to be prepared or not. I just
Okay, go ahead.
Prepared.
What do you got?
All right, so we'll start off with the T206. This is the John McGraw. I believe it's called The Portrait with Cap. So I've been rewatching Ken Burns baseball over the last few weeks and got really into, you just get into it and start. As I'm watching, I'm looking up cards now. So just John McGraw, one of those baseball lifers, and just when I looked up the portrait shot, it was really nice. So here it is. I did not. The spacing was a little bit off, so he has the sweater there, which is nice in this card. I threw the legs in at the end, but I forgot. I just realized it now. So there's that one. I put this one on. I want a T206 Hall of Famer. I don't have one yet. I like the portrait shots, and just this look was great. Like I said, just the baseball lifer like John McGraw was just. I put the likelihood of this a little bit higher than I don't know if we'll end up with this. And I approached this a different way. I kind of did it with 3 cards that I thought I could get all of them, but not sure if I'll get all of them because there's going to be so many things I'm going to see that's going to pull me in different directions. But
okay.
So that one might not be too likely to pick up. The next in the middle here, so we have this is either or for this card, and this would be for Stan Musial, my favorite player. This would be, if I picked one of these up, it would just be either or, and this would be the biggest card by far. So here's the 48 Bowman rookie card. And I'd be looking for all these in like a 1. But there's that. So either that one, or here's where the cards get good. Or the or Red Heart.
That's way better eye fill than Adam's Red Heart visual.
I want to tell everybody I did this in like 10 minutes before this, so I don't think these are too bad.
Love that red background.
Yeah.
I like the bird. Good job with the bird on the bat. Nice.
And it's amazing. I just realized too, it's amazing he had the career he did without hand. It's just
that centering could be better.
Is that mutual trimmed? Somebody asked.
Is it
Those Cardinals are buzzards.
I tried to get the centering as good as possible, but it was not to do real quick.
Those are all pinhole free, Mookie. Sorry.
So yeah, between these 2 cards, definitely looking to add one of these. If I cannot find either of these because I'm going to be looking for lower grade but nice eye appeal. If I can't find either one, I'm going to try and come away with the 53 Bowman color, and that'll be because that's a little bit cheaper, so that'll be the consolation prize. And I wanted so number 1 that I definitely want at least a card from the set, and this will be the one I want the most. It's the only Philly in the set. This is the 54 Wilson Franks Del Ennis.
Wow, that pack of hot dogs. I'm hungry. Wow.
But baseball and hot dogs, they just go together. So definitely want a card from the set. The bigger, like the Ted Williams is way out of reach, and probably even like the Campy or Bob Feller would probably be way out of reach for me. But there's a couple common cards I wouldn't mind. And this Del Ennis, like I said, only Philly in the set. So that's definitely hoping to find one and, pretty lower grade, but nice. Well, as nice eye appeal as you can for this set. But so those are the cards.
Wow. That's I hate to put these up on the screen because these are ugly.
How many of those do you really have in your collection, John? I think you have a whole stack of those cards that you made at home.
Yeah. I might just collect these from now on. I might just that just might be what I do.
That's great, man. Thank you so much. I heard the attack dogs are barking. Oh, let's get. Yeah, that looks like garbage, Adam.
Yeah, Joe's looks better.
I know. I need to. After seeing Joe's, I need to move this at the National.
He might want to trade you.
Tell me what you would rather want, his or that one.
Oh, okay, let me get that. 1 second. Here we go. Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, that's sweet.
That one looks better than mine.
Definitely. I don't know. All right, let's move on here. I think we're on Dave's list here. Dave,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, so I've always been intrigued with the old Judge cards. So I feel like this has been on my list for a while. So I don't want to leave the National this year without getting an old Judge. I think the photos are interesting and hilarious. That there's like a, you can definitely see the floor and the backdrop and sometimes the string with the ball. So I think, they're just very interesting cards and wouldn't mind having one. And then for the Nolan Ryan rookie, been wanting one since 2012. I kicked myself in the butt for not picking it up in a PSA 5 for $300 in a card shop in Arizona. But instead, I ended up buying myself a Willie Mays autographed baseball. And then for some reason, I saw that photo of Pee Wee Reese years ago, and to me, it's just an absolutely beautiful picture. I've been wanting that also. I know it's overplayed and a lot of people hate it, but I don't care. To me, it's a beaut. So yeah. So get it, in a grade, if I find it raw, that's fine too. But grade, yeah, that's fine. I just don't want, for the Reese, I don't want creases on the front. I think that just takes away from the photo on that one.
Yeah. So did I pick out a good old Judge card? Because I didn't.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no certain player that I'm really looking for. So
yeah,
that's
so
that's fine.
what price range? Like obviously old Judge cards, I'm sure could be any price range. What type of price range are you trying to find on those?
I don't know, probably about like $200-300.
Okay.
I mean, you can get like a non-Hall of Famer or something like that for cheap.
Okay. Oh
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And with the Nolan Ryan card and the Pee Wee Reese card, are you going to try to get those graded, or you don't really care? You're just looking for a good deal.
I'm just looking for a good deal.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't grade cards stuff. I don't do it. I have my opinions on it. So, but yeah, I mean, if they're graded already, that's fine. But if they're raw, that's great too. I can smell and lick them.
Hey, Dave, are you open to like a Milton Bradley version? I know the fronts are the same and a little more difficult to find in terms of value retention.
It doesn't matter as long as it's a Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, they're giving me a hard time because I picked the Keith card. I'm sorry, guys. I was trying to make the slideshow look nice again.
And a nice copy of it too. A really nice. A lot of those are really poorly developed.
Yeah,
it's faded over time.
My apologies.
Yeah, that's the thing is like they fade. Those old Judge cards fade, and like I want something with a good picture, something that still has good registration to it.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
So will you have to keep that in the dark, Dave, after you get it? Like because they fade, will you have to generally keep it, not exposed too much?
Yes. I'm going to store it in your closet.
That sounds great to me. This is going to be a perfect partnership.
I'll keep it in my dark room here and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Only display it on screen.
I think you picked out some great cards, Dave. Let's go on. The last one's the best one. So I'm looking for two different Venezuelan Clementes. I'd love to get the 62 because 62 is like my favorite top set, and I love how it's got the Spanish back on it, and I would be looking at like anywhere between a 1 and a 2 grade. Those range from like, I don't know, $600 to $1,000, I would say, or the 1966 Clemente Veni would be a great card to add to my collection. And then for me, I know nobody wants to hear the word Grail card, but the top Bazooka Clemente card, in my opinion, is the 68 Bazooka Clemente card, and they tend to be the most expensive also. So that would be an awesome card to add. So one of these three would probably be what I could afford. And I don't know. I love all three of these cards, so I'd be happy with any of these. So
I love hearing Grail card, Theo. I overuse Grail. Unapologetically overuse Grail.
Yeah. So Mike Petty's very excited about my list. So thank you, Mike. All right. So let's just because some people came in late, we're going to talk about the national strategy. But first, let's remind everybody that Matt is actually giving away a Joe DiMaggio card. And if you give a donation this hour only, you will be put in for the Joe DiMaggio card Matt's giving away. So, Matt, every $10, you get a spot on the wheel. So, Matt, you want to show that one more time? And, Matt, tell us about the Joe DiMaggio card if people came in late.
The glare's bad. It's a 1946 to 49, so it's plain days DiMaggio. Obviously oversized, right? So, like, it's huge, right? But it's a W603, kind of a cabinet card type card. Blank back. I know a lot of people don't like the plastic tombs, but I think there's less than 10 of these graded. It's a 1, but it's DiMaggio playing day, so.
That's awesome. So
please
along the bottom there is the information how to give. All the money goes to Signatures for Soldiers, and we're going to give them a check at the National. So, like I said, every $10 you give this hour only, you'll be in for the DiMaggio and the artwork. So I would donate now if I were you. You can get both, best of both worlds. So let's talk about what everybody's strategy is. I would love to hear a little bit, like, what was your strategy like the first time you went to the National, and maybe how it kind of maybe has changed once you maybe got kicked in the teeth or got out there and kind of like, oh my gosh, you got overwhelmed out there. So does anybody want to start maybe?
I can start. I think you always hear, and this is definitely not true. I don't want to like burst anyone's bubble, but you always hear, oh, you'll see everything at the National. It's all going to be there. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be there. And so I had to pivot pretty quickly last year. I had a few Aaron cards I was looking for that they weren't there, right? So you won't see everything, but I know a lot of folks in here do the same thing. Like when you see the items you're looking for, you got to pounce. And I know Theo learned this one a little bit because there was the guy I bought a couple of these cards from. I got like the like a 60 spick and span, and I got the 50 at hires. Aaron, he also had a Clemente. I think was it the Clemente from Mayor, Theo? And of course, I think we went back and it was already gone, right? So like you need to pounce when you see something that you might be interested in, that the price is decent.
Yep.
I don't think this is the time. Like you spend a lot of money to get there. This is not the time to worry about like $25 or $50 if you're looking for like a $500 card or whatever, right? Like I know some people are like, oh, I got to get a good deal. I need to walk away winning. I think you got to let some of that go. Because some of the cards, if you're looking for like the more obscure card, they're not going to be at every show, not going to be at every table. And so I'd highly recommend making sure you like don't get tied up with over $50. It's just not worth it, right? Because you'll regret it later. The only thing I really ever regret is the things I haven't bought because I should have just paid up for them, right? So I don't regret any card I ever got.
Yeah,
so that'd be my piece of advice for everyone for this year in terms of strategy. Like same thing. I'm trying, I have those 3 cards you showed earlier, Theo, on the PowerPoint slide, but there's like 20, 30 cards in my head that I'm looking for, and if I see any one of them, they can go to the top of the list right away if they're there. Because some of the cards I'm looking for, there's only a handful of graded or less, right? So, and I like graded cards. I know not everyone does, but I prefer to have the authentication after I've been burned a few times, even some in slabs, right? So multiple companies. So it's not always foolproof, but I feel like it's better than my eyes trying to look at something I haven't ever seen before, trying to make a call on my own. So that'd be my piece of advice.
Awesome. Who wants to go next? Maybe what they experienced their first year and how they're what their strategy is this year.
I'll go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Zach.
So my first one was in Atlantic City. I wasn't sure what to expect for sure, and whether you go your first time or however many times, and like I said, this is only going to be my second, so it's not like I'm an expert or anything, but it's always going to be overwhelming, I think, especially even just every year with the different layouts, you get used to that. But I went into that one, and I'll give this as one of my tips as far as, I mean, everybody, the bigger cards, that's what everybody, mainly is going to go for, and you're going to be looking for the most, because you might not be able to find everything when it comes to oddball stuff, especially, but that's the main focus of most things. But at last national, I was working on my 53 top set. So as anybody who's a set collector, I'm not actively working on any sets right now, but I'm doing team sets for the Phillies. So my tip is, if you are working on a set or team sets or anything like that, go in with your checklist ready, go in. You're never going to find a bigger database of cards in one place. I mean, there's eBay obviously, but till you find the cards you want from the different sets, and then if they're from different sellers and everything like that, you're going to pay more shipping. So it was just so cool to be able to walk up to, and 53, there wasn't as many binders of. If you're picking something later in the 50s or 60s, you're going to find a lot more. To be able to pick up a binder at a table, sit down for a little bit too, because that's one thing everybody says about taking breaks and stuff. So that's a good opportunity to sit down at a table. You're still looking at cards, but you're off your feet for a little bit. But to be able to pull card by card out, look at different conditions, have different prices on them, it's just a huge advantage that you're not going to find anywhere else, like at local shows or most card stores. It's so that's one thing I definitely am going to be doing with the team sets, is I have going through and seeing what I have right now, and I'm going to be prepared with checklists and everything, and just go through year by year and try and pull out like that. And then obviously look for bigger cards. Well, when I went to my first national, I didn't, like I said, it's so overwhelming that there was so much I didn't see. I was skipping over some tables just to try and get everything. So this year, being there longer, I definitely looking more forward to trying to just take everything in, and maybe do some more stuff looking at the auction houses and stuff, just to see some of those cool cards, which I really didn't take the time to do at the last national. So
Yeah, I think one thing he said that I was going to bring up is, last year was my first year, and I honestly, I felt like I had to see every table every day, and I just like my head started spinning, and I very much agree with you. Like I would just say, calm down, and whenever you see a good vintage table, take your time, look through the table. I'm not saying go through dollar boxes, maybe if it's your first day, because you might want to wait till, second or third day to do something like that. I'll just say, calm down, take your time, know kind of what area you hit. So the next day you can make sure you get to the other areas. That's one takeaway I had was I walked so much that first and second day. I literally went through the whole show twice, and I regret it, to be honest with you. So what do you have, Adam, for us? What's some advice you have from?
Sure. So, wow. I mean, I've woke up now. It's 8:30 Pacific, so I could talk for hours. I have so many thoughts running through my head, but I'll just share. First of all, many of you may not realize Joe and I have this ongoing feud. So, I'm going to have to find some ways to offend Joe. Top priority at the national. Now, Joe's such a nice guy. This is going to be challenging, but, I'm going to make it happen because, the feud is very important. It's taken on a life of its own. So, and I expect the same from Joe. So there's that. That's really important. Secondly, meet Mike Petty, hang out with him. And not just Mike Petty, but a bunch of other people too. And of course, people that I've seen before, like Al. I didn't get to spend enough time with Al. There's so many people, last year. So hoping to spend more time with him this year, if possible. And all of you wonderful gents. Let me tell just a quick tale. This backs up what Matt was saying. This DiMaggio in the pristine one. And this was my big pickup from the national last year. And, I'm super stoked about this. So Wednesday night, I saw that card on Wednesday night, and it was calling to me. And the reason that I, didn't go for it was I wanted to think about it because it was a big chunk of my national budget. And, it's a one, so it's got some issues, although I'm super stoked that I got it. But I was like, okay, am I going to be happy with this or should I look for another? So that night, Dylan and I, we, we're sharing a room. I told him, I said, in the morning, I'm making a beeline for that DiMaggio. So as soon as the show opened Thursday, I bought that DiMaggio. I was so stoked because, to Matt's point, this is not a card there are a lot of, especially, I wanted the one with cartoons, which I think is generally more popular. And I saw on the National, and I would imagine it's a card that would be in most dealers' cases. I believe I saw a grand total of 3. Then there might have been a couple that were like higher grade that were way out of my budget, but I saw 3 1s. I don't think I saw any 2s. I don't think, or 3s even maybe. I don't know, but I saw very few. And out of the 3 1s I saw, I bought one of them. The other 2 were not as nice and they were priced quite a bit more. And then that Thursday evening at the YouTube get together, everyone's showing off their pickups that they've made so far at the National. And one guy I showed that to, his heart kind of sank because he had been working. He wanted that card. He had been in conversation with the dealer. I believe he even showed me some texts, and they were bickering over. To Matt's point, it came down to $100, and I was willing to spend the $100. And he was thinking about it, which I totally respect that.
Yeah.
I got a discount, off of the asking price, but he wanted another $100 down, which would have been just a few percent at most. So yeah, if there's something that's tough to find or tough to find in the grade you're looking for, Wednesday night, try to get it Wednesday night if you can, or Thursday morning, because it's probably not going to hang around.
That makes sense. So if you're there on Wednesday night and you see one of your top cards or a card that just I think you say speaks to you, right? So if you see that card that speaks to you, are you willing to spend all your budget on Wednesday? Is that fine with you?
It depends on the degree to which it's speaking to me. And I try to buy so that it satisfies my head and my heart. A lot of the head has to do with budget. How does this fit into my collection? I mean, Al's the master of that, really. How does this fit into my collection? I'm not that, disciplined with it. But if it's speaking to me in an epic way, absolutely. If it's like, oh, this is a strong possibility, then I've got to weigh because there's going to be lots of other opportunities too. So, it depends.
Okay. All right, Al, you've been quiet for a while. Go ahead. What were your takeaways from Nationals past, and kind of how's that evolved into your strategy this year?
Yeah, everyone's strategy is going to be different because everyone collects different. So it's hard for me to give advice, quote unquote, to anybody else. But what's worked for me generally is to scan the first time through. It's more of a scan than a comb through. So it's kind of your top tier items, which I think we all have top tier items that we're looking for. What I will do the last 2 Nationals, I'll scan my first time through the show, and it's a very cursory, very brief scan through the National. For example, the top 3 items I'm looking for this year are all autographs. So there are maybe 10 booths at the National that have high-end slabbed autographs. So I'm going to be going through and scanning the booths, looking for those top, those 10 booths that might be specializing in higher-end slabbed autographs. And I'll make that first purchase on Thursday when I'm there, because I'm not going to be there Wednesday, but I'll make that first purchase on Thursday. The autograph that speaks to, as Adam said, my head and my heart. I will select that one. If it's a Cy Young autograph that jumps out and it's beautiful and it's exactly what I'm looking for, I won't hesitate to pay what the going rate is for that. Or if it's a Walter Johnson or if it's a Grover Alexander, whatever that is, if it really speaks to me and the price is right, then I'll make that purchase first. Then at least I have that one item. I like to have one item coming from a National that I'm like, oh yeah, that was my big one from the National that year. Like for 2022, it was Jackie Robinson autograph. From 2023, it was a Stan Musial rookie card. For this year, I hope it's another big autograph that I can look to and say, yes, that was the 2024 National. And so I try to take care of that purchase first. That way I kind of know what my remaining, if there is any, remaining money might be. And then I can sort of take my time. Then I can, the next 2 times through, I usually comb through the National about 3 times, and then I can slow down and then look at what else is there, and then really look at every booth. And then look closer at what there is, and maybe pick up some smaller items or some rare, lesser seen stuff, or I see a random obscure card that I'm looking for. I can slow down and look through some value boxes and things like that. But I like to comb through very quickly first and find that big item, and then go back through a couple more times over the next couple days, and then tease out smaller purchases.
So with you taking the fastest lap you can on a Thursday, which I think makes a lot of sense, if you're with friends or with other guys on YouTube, is it possible to stay together?
For me, no, not that day.
Yeah,
not that first time, because I'm at that point I'm looking to get my primary purchase, and then I'll slow down. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just telling. Like, I sometimes I fight with that. Like, maybe I see Matt at the show and we're talking, and then like you said, maybe Matt's moving at a faster pace than me, or I'm moving at a faster pace. So do you guys struggle with that? I know Adam spent a lot of time this year with Dylan. Was it hard for you at times to try to balance between walking with somebody and looking at cards for yourself?
Well, I chose the wrong person, because when there's a card we both wanted, Dylan could get to the table before me. So the key is you have to be able to move faster than the people you're with. So choose the people you're hanging out with carefully.
Okay.
But then you have to pick him up so he can see what was in the displays, Adam.
So I will say this: Thursday night, yeah, that's right. Thursday night, I had a blast hanging out with Dylan and some other people. Or Wednesday night, excuse me. Wednesday night, I did a lot of just on my own because I wanted to zip along. So Wednesday night, we'll see how it goes, but I might just zip along and maybe even kind of sort of leave people behind. But if I've made a big purchase Wednesday night or Thursday morning, then I'll be much more chill. So yeah, I could see myself moving around more and being somewhat less amenable to moseying with people on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of it is a tricky balance. I'm not gonna lie. Do some of you guys also agree it's a little bit of a balancing act?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I know, like, I was walking with you and Matt at one point, and I was looking at table. I looked up, and it's like, where did they go? And I'm like standing around like, looking for like 15 minutes for you guys, and I was like, screw it, I just went off by myself.
That's funny. Dave, you're the only one that hasn't got a chance to check in. What's your strategy this year that hasn't changed from last year, and you seeing what it was like?
So last year, I know, like, I was just looking around. I was just looking at the tables just to see what was out there. I mean, I had a list of things, but I wasn't like dead set on that list. So it was more like squirrel, kind of thing happened. But I didn't do my big purchase until Friday before lunch, and you and Matt were right there with me. I think Adam was there too. No, Adam wasn't there. It was just you two were with me. And so yeah, it took me a while to, find something, but again, like look around, see what's in there. I mean, if you're looking for vintage, you're going to just skip past the modern stuff, like a lot of that, the Pokemon tables, all that stuff. But my other thing would be is if you don't see it at the booth, ask the dealer if they have it, in the back, in their safe, or in a box somewhere, because once they move a certain product out, they got to reload their display cases. So they might have that back there. So they're like, dealers are putting out their higher end stuff that they have, I think, and a little bit lower end stuff to have that balance. But again, ask them if they have whatever it is. If they don't, then move on. But if you also, see something and you're trying to work out a deal, like, have that dealer write down what the cards are and the price that your guys are negotiating on, and then be like, hey, can I come back, and think about this. So already have the table number, what the price that they're asking. So that way it's in their handwriting to be like, this is what we agreed on because it's in your handwriting.
It's interesting. I've never heard that concept before.
Yeah, I mean that's how I ended up with my Mathewson last year. Was the dealer, like, he wrote on a card, hid the price and what the cards were, and handed it to me.
Interesting.
So because that way it's like I come back and it's not like, oh no, I don't remember you. We didn't agree upon that. This is the price of it. Like, no, I have your card with what you wanted for it. So, yeah, but other than that, I mean, it's just go in with an open mind and just take it all in. You never know what you're going to find in there. Yeah. And don't be afraid to walk around by yourself either, because, Joe or Al or somebody could be looking for something different than what you are. And then you're just wasting your time, what you could be looking for. So just don't be afraid and just walk around by yourself.
Dave, since you're the expert on doing like checks to make sure cards are real, what tools are you heading in there with as far
Full CSI.
Tell us the tools of the trade, because
tools of the trade. Yes, I don't have yourself a loop with the light. Okay. And then also you black light. Have yourself a little black light too. Wow. Because you never know.
Yeah.
So
how about measuring cards? Are you just going to get a common and try to get the dealer to give you a common and put it up to that card? Is that what you're going to do?
Sure. You can get yourself like I mean, that's the thing about cards. You never know if they're, trimmed or not. You're just be looking at it and, put it up.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is grab a common and look at the print pattern on the common, because nobody's like reprinting commons. So look at the print pattern in a common and versus what the card you're looking at if it's raw. And if they match up, then I think you're in a pretty good spot.
Dave, did you get certified as a notary before this too? So those contract negotiations you can get, just so there's no breach of that?
No.
Oh, that should be something to look into too.
That's hilarious. I want to tell you though, I was with Chris at Strongsville, and he was buying some, I think they were play ball cards, I believe. And he said to the dealer, he said, "Do you have a play ball common?" And I thought that was, sometimes, to be honest with you, sometimes guys, you'll get to the table and maybe you see a price or a card that you get really, really excited about. It's like a card that you don't see that often. And you just totally forget to make sure it's like proper size. It's, especially if it's ungraded, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to slow down sometimes, kind of, and just make sure like you look it over really well and things like that.
Yeah. So one more thing, Theo, because like I saw a comment in here by Ruben, like, what's the black light for? Okay. So the ink that they printed cards with back in the day doesn't make a fluorescent like the newer inks do. So you can spot that brightness in the card versus like a vintage card doesn't have that brightness. It looks like dull, in a vintage card. It's almost not there. But reprints and newer card, like I would say reprints have that fluorescent brightness to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also, one small topic I want to talk about, and I think you guys would all say the same thing, but we may as well bring it up, is I'm always worried about nickel and diming my budget at the National, right? You go in with whatever, this much money, and there's a Clemente card for $50. There's another one for $100. I need these cards. And you start buying $50 and $100 cards, and then maybe you get to that big card that was on the list that I showed earlier, and it's thousands of dollars, and you either have to go to the ATM or you can't get it. So is that something you guys think about too? Is that you guys are worried about nickel and dime in your
budget? I want to get that big card out of the way first. Yeah, that way I know that I have that out of the way, and then I can. The rest is just gravy on the toast. So
yeah.
I mean that's all it is. I mean it's just fun money to play with after that. That's it. Because if you start like nickel diamond like everything else, and then you find like the card that you're looking for, and then you're like, crap, I don't have it now. So
yeah, Al, were you gonna add to that or say the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much is exactly what Dave said. Get the toast first, and then worry about the gravy.
I've never put gravy on my toast.
Biscuits. I don't know about toast for gravy, but in the South, we eat biscuits for gravy.
World War II, the shit on the shingle.
I guess Joe would be the one guy in here. He's the most set collector ish in this room right now. So Joe, is that a big struggle for you because you're a set collector, so you're looking through set binders and trying to fill out sets. So is that a struggle for you, or are you fine with nickel and dime in your budget if you need to?
I kind of I went in with just like I will with the Musial this year. My one big purchase at the National, my first one was the Koufax rookie. And so yeah, I went in kind of like keeping that budget in mind to the side for that. And then I focused on sets first. And then, because that's one thing I wanted to echo before when whoever said about, I think Dave said about asking the dealer, because that's something I didn't do. Like I literally went a day and a half and I was looking for a Koufax in like a 1 that had decent eye appeal. And I saw maybe 2 that were graded less than a 3, and I had almost walked the whole 4 by that time. And I had asked some people, but I didn't ask everybody. So that's one thing I would say too, because I'm sure there were more there. I just didn't, they probably just weren't even out on the table yet. But so I kept it was like $500 I had budgeted for that card. So I kept that to the side, but I was prioritizing the sets and stuff like that first, just because I knew I'd never be able to find that many to pick from at once. And I actually wish I would have done more of that, concentrating on the sets, because afterwards, it took another year of waiting for enough to come up from one seller at a time or to even find some of the high numbers. So it all depends. There's going to be constantly things pulling you in different directions. But like I said, if depending what your budget is, if your whole budget is for one big card almost, then yeah, you have to kind of look for that card first. But if maybe half your budget is for that big card, then you can probably kind of do both at one time.
Nice. So we only have 2 minutes left, and it's hard for me to get a hold of Al, and I got to corner him here. He had an iconic countdown, and he had Roberto Clemente at 23. I mean, is there a more iconic player than Roberto Clemente? Mike Petty's out there. Mike, what do you think? Is 23 ridiculous?
I'm surprised you didn't have him at 21.
I played around with that. I didn't want to go out of my way to put a guy at a number just because that was his number. It happened with Griffey organically. Griffey ended up at number 24 on the countdown, and it was his jersey number, but not because that's his jersey number. It was because I actually truly couldn't put Griffey anywhere else but number 24, just because that's where he fell. But yeah, I just I had to stay true to myself and my process and my head and my heart.
Way to stick it to Theo, Al.
Al, I'm just messing with you, man. It's good. Oh man, I love these guys. All these guys here I text all the time. They're awesome. I'm super excited for the national guys. I know you guys are too. I think we probably all talk and think about it every single day now. So this is awesome to get all you guys together here and have a conversation about it. So
hey Theo.
Yeah.
So with whoever wins Matt's DiMaggio, I want to throw this in with it.
Oh, geez. Here we go. All right.
Since it's signatures for soldiers.
Yeah, I know. We have to go soon. So go ahead. Hurry.
Right. It's a Medal of Honor winner card that is autographed by him.
Oh, nice.
So whoever wins that DiMaggio will get this too.
Awesome.
It's a signature
Awesome.
for soldiers.
Awesome. So once again, Matt and Dave gave things for this hour. You have 5 minutes left to give a donation if you want to be in the wheel for that plus the painting. I unfortunately have to run. We got the next show is actually the painting show. So switch over to that, everybody. But this was a lot of fun. I thank you guys. And please subscribe to these guys' channels if you're not, okay? All right. We'll see you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Theo.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Theo.
Later.